The bullet train is one of the most popular modes of transportation in Japan and is gradually gaining popularity worldwide. There are many reasons why people choose the bullet train, with its speed and smoothness being especially notable. You can travel from one province to another in just a few hours or even minutes without worrying about traffic jams or bumps like other vehicles. In Japan, the Shinkansen or New Trunk Line is the new high-speed arterial route running parallel to the existing railway system from ancient times. Among the trains running on the Shinkansen, the Zero Series was the first generation of high-speed trains inaugurated and put into operation in 1964. However, after 44 years of speeding along the tracks, it was permanently discontinued in 2008 due to being outdated, making way for another generation of bullet trains. For Chilla's art house, Shinkansen Zero is a newly released game revolving around the strange and eerie experience of passengers stepping onto the legendary Shinkansen Zero train. What awaits us ahead? Let's follow along with me in today's video to find out. The story of Shinkansen Zero begins as you, the main character, step onto the number 0 bullet train at a railway station somewhere in Japan. Essentially, it's a fairly new, clean and well-equipped train for a long journey, with the only peculiar thing catching your attention being a strange warning sign stuck right on the floor. Go back if you see anything unusual. Unusual, like an earthquake, an accident, or a supernatural phenomenon that humans can't explain. You ponder the question, but quickly dismiss it, as it doesn't seem all that important anyway. Today's train is quite empty, with plenty of empty seats. Perhaps it's late now, so, besides you, there are only 3 other passengers in carriage number 7. An office gentleman dozes off after a long day's work, and a pair of sisters. Feeling bored just sitting around, you decide to take a stroll through the carriages to pass the time, unaware of the strange events awaiting you ahead. In the first carriage, everything seems quite normal. The man and the woman are both asleep, so you don't bother them. The child with the sisters is awake, but remains silent, just staring at you without saying anything. Well, no one would be bothered about someone wandering around the train aimlessly. You think and then proceed to the next carriage. In the second carriage, you hope to meet new, different passengers, but to your surprise, it looks identical to the first one you enter. The office gentleman and the lady are still asleep, but the child speaks up and greets you. Are you stuck in the loop too? The child asks innocently, enough to send shivers down to your spine. Before you can respond, it continues. So, does that mean you're here to play the game? Game? What game? You look at the child, puzzled. Based on the experience of a seasoned horror game player, you might have fallen into a dead loop for some reason you're unaware of. Regardless of the child's excitement about what's coming, you know that the next game you have to face won't be pleasant at all. Or there might not even be a game at all. Maybe the child is just imagining things to keep time out of boredom. After chatting for a while, it mentions that its sister has been asleep for a while now and hasn't woken up yet, and it begins to explain the rules of the game it's referring to. It turns out you were warned right from the moment you step onto the train. Go back if you see anything unusual. And as you know, in any game, there must be a rule to win. The rule here is that you have to run to the train's brake cabin in carriage number 0 if you want the game to stop. During the game, if you feel tired of chasing something you don't even know what it is, just run into the restroom to hide. Rest assured, there's nothing unusual in there to attack you. But what you're more concerned about than the rules and the impending strangeness is why a child can remain so calm in this situation. Is that child normal? or it's being the most unusual thing here. The only thing you can do is keep moving forward to find the answer. The official game begins when you step into the next carriage. As predicted, you find yourself back in carriage number 7, with the man and the woman still there, but the child has disappeared. Okay, even if you're a hardcore materialist, you can't deny that you're dealing with some serious trouble from some kind of supernatural force. Following the rule, you go back to previous carriage, but it's still carriage number 7. You try to continue forward, and this time there's a change. The arrow on the notice doesn't have any unusual mark under it anymore, indicating the direction you're supposed to go. Enter the next carriage right in front of you, and congratulations, you have successfully stepped into the carriage number 6. Seems like this game is pretty straightforward, right? You think and decide to take a walk for a check. The man and the woman still there, proving that what you just saw wasn't an illusion. And it seems that as long as you follow the rules, you'll be safe to escape this place. Carriage number 5 still has the man and the woman, but there's an unclaimed water bottle on the floor. Suddenly, the door bursts open, and a man, or something resembling a man, rushes in from outside and starts chasing you. But don't worry, as long as you leave the carriage, you will be safe. Stepping into carriage number 4, everything seems normal to the point of being strange. There are no monsters or any changes, but in carriage number 3, if you go straight ahead, you will return to carriage number 4 even though there's nothing unusual in front of you. This shows that the unusual thing is hidden very carefully in every small detail, so pay attention to observe or go in the opposite direction, and you successfully step into carriage number 2. This carriage is similar to carriage number 3, and you arrive at carriage number 1. So there's only one more carriage left for you to escape from this devilish loop. But what you still wonder at this point is where the child you saw in the sister's bag is. Everything will gradually be explained when you step into carriage number 0. It's an empty carriage with no seats. The office gentleman has woken up and is standing as if preparing to leave the train. Meanwhile, the woman is still asleep in a sitting position even though there are no seats there. This situation proves that you're encountering something unusual again, so go back. You will be led to the carriage connected to the driver's compartment. The sound of the train preparing to stop and the voice of the train driver announced that the trains had just had collision on the railway, so they had to stop the train to confirm safety. They sincerely apologize for the inconvenience, and they can't announce the resumption of the journey in front of them yet. But who cares? All you have to do is go to the driver's compartment and pull the brake. Then everything will end. You thought so and urgently open the next door, hoping that behind it is the driver's compartment. But turns out it's not. Before you is the area between two carriages, and the child from the sister's bag has just stepped out of the restroom. It seems like your game is not over yet. The child speaks with a mischievous tone when seeing your purse face, saying that you have just finished using the regular restroom, and there's still the first class one ahead of you. Okay, if it weren't illegal to hit a child, you definitely give this kid a piece of your mind for teasing adults. Now you have to go through the first class carriage, and the rules of the game will change. This time, you have to go straight when you see something unusual, and go back if nothing unusual happens. However, you mustn't make more than 3 mistakes, or demons will appear and grab you by the neck. Demons? That sounds more exciting now, doesn't it? You think and then start walking into the first carriage of the first class section, carriage number 7. The occupants of this carriage include an old lady who looks like a ghost from July, a food attendant, a working woman, and a bald-headed old man standing, putting luggage on the shelf. Not much different from regular carriages. Exiting the first-class section, you encounter an old man leaning on a cane in the area between two carriages. The old man asks if you are a person and says that you behave differently from the others in this place. It seems that he also knows something about this mysterious train carriage. He even wants you not to trust men in suits, as a friendly reminder to those who share his plight. After saying that, he yawns, then bows his head and falls asleep standing up, no longer paying attention to you. Well, that is quite strange, isn't it? But you should still pay attention to the old man's reminder as a way to keep yourself safe. The next events are quite strange and not much different from before. The unusual phenomena you might encounter include automatic doors moving as if pushed by someone behind, the space outside the door suddenly changing, the floor of the carriage covered in smoke, the sound of an automated car horn prompting you to play a game of rock, paper, scissors, and a man wearing a red bodysuit with a flipping the room door on his head suddenly appearing to scold you every time you break the game's rules. Some other anomalies are harder to notice, like the screen of the working woman not lighting up. When you step into the third carriage, you'll find it covered in trees and encounter the strange child again. This time, it looks somewhat disheveled and asks whether you think it and you can escape from this place or not. And no matter how you try to comfort it, the child doesn't respond. Moving on to the second carriage, you encounter a strange phenomenon, whether it's a bug or a feature installed by the publisher. Everything in this carriage is perfectly normal. In carriage number 1, you'll find a half-eaten cake on a seat with no one sitting on it. Now all you have to do is get through carriage number 0 to reach the cockpit area. Now all you have to do is press the button and everything will end. But will everything be as simple as that? After pressing the button, you realize that nothing has changed. The train continues to run without any signs of stopping. Trying to go back to the previous carriage, everyone mysteriously disappears as if they never existed. In the panic, you rush through carriages and return to the regular section. The older sister in the sister duo has now awakened, and both of them have a long conversation about what happened. It turns out that the boy we saw is named Naoki, and the older sister has lost her memory, so she doesn't know what happened. What we need to do now is to help the older sister find the boy and break this loop permanently. To do that, you and the older sister will have to run in opposite directions and start the train at the same time. The mysterious entities will try everything to stop you in this process, but don't give up. You will reach the cockpit at the destination. Press the buttons once more, and the train will come to a complete stop. Naoki will be waiting for you at the train station, and the two sisters will finally be reunited, although touched by the reunion. When Naoki asks if you want to get off the train with them, you refuse. Both sisters then bid you farewell. The door closes, and the train continues on to the next station. Waking up from a long sleep, you realize you're lying in the bed next to a flight attendant and a man who appears to be a doctor. The flight attendant explains that you passed out due to lack of nutrients after sitting on the train for many hours. Luckily, there was a doctor on the train, so nothing serious happened. However, a few hours ago, there was an accident that caused the train to stop temporarily. The flight attendant stops there. Then you hear the voice of a railway staff member announcing that a pair of sisters died right on the railway track in that accident. Shinkansen 0 then ends with an image of the two sisters holding hands joyfully walking on the train track. under the radiant cherry blossom trees. In another development, if you choose to run in the business class instead of the ordinary class, you will unlock another ending that is quite hard to understand. There is no abnormality to prevent you, and waiting for you at the end of the ending is just a blank screen, symbolizing the scene in the other world. So through the endings, we can see that the story in Shinkansen Zero revolves around a mysterious train accident, in which you are an unfortunate man who unfortunately faints on the train due to nutrient deficiency and gets lost in the world between life and death. The train with an infinite time loop symbolizes your struggle with death, and the final train station you see is the otherworldly realm of the soul. The two sisters we encounter in the game have both died in the train accident, for reasons unknown, but I think it is likely that they intentionally did so. The fact that the younger sister was awake while the older sister was asleep indicates that the younger sister arrived in the afterlife before her sister, while the older sister was still lingering in the reality. There is a sad truth that people who meet an accident but are not injured in the heart and brain, or have not had their lower half severed, will feel extreme pain within a few minutes before death. And the moment we see the older sister wake up is also the moment she officially steps into the realm of the soul. The image of two sisters happily playing under the red cherry blossom trees indicates that their lives have officially ended. However, in the final ending, do you see the image of both playing happily under the cherry blossom? In Japan, cherry blossoms symbolize youth, beautiful yet incredibly short life, like the protagonist's regretful feeling for the two new friends as they have departed to such at a young age. But at the same time, it is also his blessing to them, with the hope that both will live happily in the afterlife. So, have you ever wondered why Chilla's art chose the high-speed train as the main setting in the game Shinkansen Zero? We all know that Japan is a country famous for its Shinto culture, the integrity of samurai, the beauty of cherry blossom, and the high suicide rate due to societal pressure. Trains, whether they are conventional trains, subways, or high-speed trains, can be considered ideal places for someone to transition to the afterlife. The estimated number of people who lose their lives on train tracks is countless, leading to professions like track fishers in Japan, who earn extremely high salaries for their hazardous work. It might be for this reason that trains are often associated with journeys to the afterlife. We can see this reflected in stories like the famous abandoned Kisaragi station, which leads to a train journey to the realm of the dead, or more gently, in the train that carries Chihiro through the enchanting landscapes of the spirit world in Spirited Away. Therefore, it's no wonder that choosing a disused train like the Shinkansen Zero as the main theme and the title for this game is so fitting. Chilla's arts game, although short, always contain profoundly humane and meaningful lessons. In Shinkansen Zeros, the developers utilize the imagery of trains and the realm of the afterlife to convey the message that life is like a loop, seemingly long but ultimately fleeting. Therefore, it's crucial to cherish every second and minute of existence. While trains may mark the end of one's life, they can also signify the beginning of a new life, where existence is reborn and one comes to realize the inherent beauty and the goodness of everything around them. That concludes today's video. We hope that through this video you have gained some insights of your own. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated with our weekly uploads. Thank you all for being here.